Ladies and gentlemen, and now the last fight before the main event. From the blue corner, Clinton the Cruz.
Clinton de Cruz. The interesting aspect of Clinton is
I also request all the
told-
fighters, जितने भी fighters हैं,
I've
please
been
अपने
told
booths
that
में चले जाएं.
in the amateur record, he has 25 wins in jiu-jitsu, 13 wins in kickboxing in the amateur circuit. Daniel, the man that built MMA in India, looking at someone like Clinton, who spent most of his years on the amateur circuit, what are your thoughts on the fighters rather building themselves at the amateur level before taking the big leap?
Well, I think there's one important thing is that these fighters are definitely building their experience in at the amateur level, but I guess they reach a point where they have to find some sort of compensation for all the training they're doing. And I don't think that exists in the amateur ranks, and so they need to take that step to fight in pro. I mean, it's obviously a decision not just of the fighter, but also his coach. But yeah, I totally understand why fighters like Clinton want to make that switch to pro.
Now, I want to get your comments on the interesting couple of lines that Vikas said. Now, before that, we go to Jared inside the cage.
And his opponent from the red corner, Kapil Kumar.
Kapil Kumar. Now, Daniel, before we talk about Kapil and this fight, once again, I want to ask you about Vikas's comments and what your thoughts are.
Well, if Vikas Daya is listening to the broadcast, if he was watching the fights tonight, I think he should man up, cut some weight, come back for MFN 3.
So you would roll out the red carpet for MFN 3 for someone like Vikas Daya.
Well, I definitely, obviously there are rules and sanctions in place, and I guess he'll have to go through that protocol because there was a lot of money invested into him, promoting him for this fight. And I guess fighters need to understand that when a promoter puts in a lot of investment to promote him and he reaches this platform, he has to show professionalism. So, leaving aside all of those points, I think it's so important that this rematch happens. But will MFN put it up? We don't know.
Right. Now, we look at the tail of the tape for this bantamweight fight. 27 years, Clinton, 29 Kapil, 61 kilos, both the fighters. Clinton with the BJJ background, Kapil with Wushu.
If I say stop, stop. Okay. Show a clean fight. Touch the gloves if you need.
No messing around by Ranjit in that one.
No messing around, indeed.
He says if I say stop, you stop.
And he was an ex-fighter.
Ranjit, the next fighter, and I think this bout defines a lot about Indian MMA. We have Kapil, who I believe is old school Indian MMA, and we have Clinton, the new generation of well-rounded MMA fighters.
Talking just a bit about Clinton, he is teammates with obviously Shrikant Shekhar, who fights in the main event. I asked Shrikant about a few things regarding Clinton. What he told me was Clinton spars with people that are at least 2 weight classes above him in the gym. And the fact that he is so well-rounded that no fighter wanted to take a fight with him.
Well, I definitely think he's the right opponent for Kapil, because Kapil has some heavy hands. Kapil has a ton of wushu experience. He had so many fights during the early years of Indian MMA when we were launched onto the mainstream television, and Kapil knocked out a lot of fighters. A lot of proper jiu-jitsu guys weren't able to submit him. So if Clinton is able to submit him, I think that's gonna speak for itself.
And this is also a rematch. A few years ago when these two fought, Clinton defeated Kapil, if I remember, in just 30 or 40 seconds in the first round.
So I'm really looking forward to see what this bout has in store for us. As of now, it looks like the same thing. It just looks like Clinton's on top, Kapil's at the bottom. Him being primarily a striker, I don't know what he's going to do at this point. But if for some reason he's able to reverse the roles, that's when it's going to get interesting.
Now, what this also highlights, and I need to get your perspective on this, is not just the evolution of Indian MMA, but the evolution of fighters' mindsets. where they would rather spend more time at the amateur circuit, develop themselves, develop their games, and then come to the pro aspect of things. As someone that has been seeing things, overseeing things for the past decade or two in India, how do you see this changing mindset of the fighters?
Well, I definitely think that the amateur Indian MMA fighters are a lot smarter now. They're taking their time to they're investing their time with proper grappling training, and I think that's so important. You can't just be a boxer who can wrestle and fight in MMA. So when fighters are competing in jiu-jitsu, they're taking the time to go overseas, train and fight. I think it definitely says a lot about the mindset of Indian fighters today.
Right, and Clinton also, just talking about his BJJ and his training, I was told that he was once selected for the Asian Championships as well to represent India in BJJ. And he's not just someone that sticks to BJJ, he's won national competitions in boxing as well. So you know for a fact that he has taken his time, he has taken the pain to actually become well-rounded.
I totally appreciate that, but as of now, this fight does not have fireworks. We're waiting to see some more action. The audience is getting impatient. The corners are quiet right now. Clinton right now is taking Kapil's back. Not a very good position for Kapil. Hook sunk in. Rear naked choke. Coming
Almost
up.
there, almost there.
Coming up.
And what we also saw was, this started with proper wrist control by Clinton.
There is no response by Kapil at this point. He has both his feet off of the air, which shows that he has complete control from the top. His hooks are underneath, just over his quadriceps. He's still sticking to pressurize Kapil. He's waiting for that chance that he can slide his forearm under the neck and put in that rear naked choke.
What I think Kapil was doing there was holding on to Clinton's gloves. But now obviously that is done, and Clinton is looking to cinch in that rear naked choke.
Clinton looking very confident with his top game.
Now looking for an arm triangle.
Kapil has absolutely no answer for Clinton. He tries to power out, but it's just not working. Clinton's balance seems 100% legit.
Now this is someone, as I said, has taken the pains to perfect his game. Now I think the rear naked choke is almost cinched in. No, almost was. I think it is now.
Rear naked choke, and he taps out.
And Kapil taps out. Kapil taps out in the final minute of the first round. Similar outcome to their previous meeting.
Well, time for Kapil to either decide if he wants to put in proper investment of time to train properly for MMA, or I think he should just go back to competing in stand-up competition. And I don't mean stand-up comedy.
But coming from a wushu background, you would have expected Kapil to at least implement his game plan rather than succumb to Clinton's.
Well, that's the whole the objective of having a proper game plan. Being a jiu-jitsu guy, Clinton just neutralized Kapil's stand-up skills to literally show Kapil that he had no skills at all for this fight.
Clinton trains out of, as you might have seen, the ICSA in Bangalore, the same gym that Shrikant Shekhar trains out of.
ICSA, one of the legit
Now we go to
jiu-jitsu gyms from Bangalore.
Ladies and gentlemen, the referee Ranjit has stopped this contest in 4 minutes and 16 seconds of the first round. And the winner by submission by the rear naked choke from the blue corner, Clinton de Cruz.